Запускаю трансляцию. Поехали.
Good evening, dear patients. This is my great pleasure to stay with you tonight and to share with you a presentation regarding how to prepare for your first fertility clinic appointment. We all know that our world has changed significantly during last year. However, the goal of parenthood is still actual and even more important this time, as we understood the difference between having the opportunities to decide and to act and to achieve your goal, and also to have some limits or waiting period which we don't know how long this will happen. My name is Dr. Uliana Dorofeyeva. I am IVF specialist, gynecologist, reproductive endocrinologist, and medical director. Our facility is located in Ukraine, and before the COVID started, we used to treat patients from over 30 countries who were traveling to Ukraine to achieve their goal of parenthood. And I would like to share with you our goals as our medical team and mine as well. So, as soon as we receive an inquiry from the patient, and for every patient, our goal is to achieve pregnancy as soon as possible. And we will talk a lot about the timing during this webinar because this is one of the crucial resources we all have. Our goal is to maximizing success rate for the first initial cycle of each patient. Here you may say that many of those patients who are referred to our center, they are not patients with the initial infertility. Many of them, they have been treated before with different plans, stimulation regimens, with different treatment options, using either own oocytes or donated oocytes, having embryo transfers to their uterus or surrogacy cases, and unfortunately, those cases were negative. However, and we will also talk about this, in Ukraine, there are many possibilities, many alternative treatments, many options which are not widely used in different locations. And second opinion is always helping in order to understand the signs of infertility, the reasons of the infertility, and also find the best and the shortest way to achieve pregnancy. Our main goal to guarantee safety in IVF and also reduce multiple pregnancies. So the goal is to deliver one healthy child during one stimulation cycle, and this is the good clinical practice which is already taken by all the world as a good clinical practice, and also to help as many patients as possible, because in our country we have different variants of IVF treatment. It is both legal oocyte donation and surrogacy, and these are main treatment programs for which patients are coming and visiting Ukraine. Also, some of experimental treatments, which are still experimental, but we need to remember that IVF also is just a little bit over 40 years in practice, and before that it was absolutely experimental. So we need to try something else in order to make this happen as a routine. Also, we need to say that to be treated in Ukraine, you may reduce the cost even if those treatment options are available in your home country. And we are using the most effective techniques. We don't have an open registry, but through communication with each clinic and doctor, you may find information about success rates. I know and I definitely understand that for some this is just the marketing information. However, after consultation with us and being experiencing our communication and treatment, you will understand that in Ukraine and in our facility, definitely success rates are one of the highest. So, but still, talking about your first fertility clinic treatment appointment, you have some feelings, you have some expectations, but you need to start to act. because until you will start acting, you will never know what will happen further. And all big projects in our life, as well as the parenthood, uh, need to be started from the first step. Some of our patients who are during their first initial consultation, they feel exciting. Mostly these are patients who never tried IVF treatment before, who are diagnosed with the infertility as the initial infertility, and they understand and they are easygoing in their way of planning their parenthood. They trust the doctor, they trust the facility, they understand the whole process. They just feel that this needs to be done and they need to start doing this. And this, I would say, this is the easiest cohort of the patient to work with, and they are always very successful in their treatment. Some part of the patients, they are stressful, mainly due to their previous experience. However, as well, we need to understand about our main resource, timing, and we need to start to communicate and to act. And our goal during our initial consultation to move the feelings of those parts of the patients who feel stressful and negative into the side of being positive and exciting, waiting for your successful IVF treatment. Why we are talking about our biological clock? Because it is always running. Even now you're spending this with the you, achieving positive information which will help you to be successfully treated and to be closer to your goal. However, it happens all the time. And if we are talking in terms of the IVF cycle or our menstrual cycle, you need to understand, and I believe that you know that every cycle we have certain number of follicles which are recruited and which potentially can produce oocyte. During one menstrual cycle, just one and sometimes few follicles are growing and they are producing the oocyte. Depending what is the reason of your infertility, you can be pregnant during this menstrual cycle if there is if this is not a factor of tubal infertility or severe male factor or some immune factor or any others. However, this one oocyte was growing and potentially can be fertilized, but all others, they are just lost. 99.9% of our follicles, they go through the process of atresia. So they potentially are recruited in the beginning of our menstrual cycle. If they do not receive enough FSH from our hypophysis, they are just lost. So what we are doing during IVF cycle stimulation, we are helping all those follicles who potentially may produce oocyte to produce the oocyte, and we are saving them from the process of atresia. That's why it is so important to talk, and we do that now to educate patients that in case you have a goal to be pregnant, you need to use your time. Even if you have a goal to be pregnant later, you can use your time in order to keep your reserve, to vitrify your oocytes or to create embryos and keep them in the storage. You can transfer them later. This is fertility preservation options. Because average age of a first delivery in the world is increasing. And this is a real data from all over the globe. The same we experience in Ukraine and in the UK, in Europe, in Australia, in the USA, everywhere. Every decade, age of a woman delivering first baby is increasing for 2 years. And you can just imagine what will happen in the future. So very soon, in 2100, women are going to deliver their first baby after their 50s. So we, as the IVF specialist, we need to be ready in order to treat them successfully, to treat you successfully, because there is the significant decrease in the potential for producing healthy oocyte. And healthy oocyte, this is a 70% of success of healthy embryo. And healthy embryo, this is absolute success for implantation in case of all other problems are solved. So, but still, there is an option. You know about the option, and probably you've heard about this as oocyte donation. Using oocyte donation, you can get pregnant in any age until you are cycling. And even if you are not cycling, with the help of medications, you can start cycling again. However, there is a limit of age limit for treatment of infertility. Actually, in Ukraine, there is no official and legal limit, so it is not regulated by law. However, we need to consider the medical indication, your somatic status, but the main understanding should be that it is possible. It is possible to be pregnant. For many cases, it is quite easy to be pregnant. What we just need is to understand the reasons and to cover the reasons why you are not getting pregnant with the solutions for how this needs to be changed, how this needs to be treated, and as a result, you will be pregnant. So, in order to start to be prepared for your first consultation, we need to cooperate. We need, in order to give you the possibility to be pregnant, we need to communicate. You need to contact us. You need to be prepared for the first fertility consultation. We need to spend that time as maximum in productive way in order to be successful for both sides, both for us as for the clinicians, to understand you as a patient, to have as much completed history about your medical status, about your previous treatment cycles, about everything what you consider we need to know to have a full picture of what needs to be done in order to help you to get pregnant. So, what should be prepared prior to consultation? We advise to prepare your medical history and copies of your medical records. For many of you, I know that those records can be really huge, like a lot of information to read, to study, sometimes to even to recheck with you, because some information is provided by facilities, some is not. Uh, that's why it is so important also to talk, because patient always knows the most important information. And we will have a short summary of your medical history, going through your medical records and communicating with you, and also a full picture after studying all your files. But in order to give you expectations and understanding that we are familiar with your case, sometimes we don't have time to study all your records in advance, as we are not receiving them in advance. We just receive them after the consultation usually. That's why we need to have a general picture, which will be amended, and we will understand much more as soon as the records are received. But still, talking to you, understanding that you cooperate in this need, we will move forward. So you need to prepare, it is recommended that you will prepare a list of your questions. So after we will ask questions to you, you will ask questions to us. Why do you think this was not successful? What else could be done in order to improve my implantation? What do you think about my immune status? Should I consider checking my thyroid? Do you think my endometrium was too thin? All other questions you are thinking about you might have. Don't consider they are, maybe you feel they are not those which you need to ask. So don't think about this. Everything what you consider to be important and you would like to get our opinion on this, please write, please put on your list. And also it's better to have them written, because once you are starting to talk to your doctor, you may be confused and you can forget something. So our aim is that your communication and cooperation will be full and complete. So your feeling after the consultation would be that I have clear picture of what to do. I have clear picture of the timelines. I do understand what is happening in my body, why this could be an issue, because quite often the issue is not one reason of infertility. These are multiple reasons. And it sometimes may happen that doctor could find one or two of those reasons, but some still were hidden. So by asking more questions, by analyzing, by talking to you, we can get more information about some additional reasons of why this was not happening successful in the future. And of course, it will be much easier for us to solve this. You need to have a list of paper or your notebook to write down instructions or details or your thoughts while communicating with your doctor or with the medical team as a coordinator or embryologist. Many people actually are communicating with you or can communicate. If you will ask, for example, that you would like our embryologist to consider your embryo development report. Maybe you have some videos from embryo development or just records, or you don't understand what does this mean, AA or AB or blast 1, blast 5, etc. So we will help you to understand this, and for us it will be very, very useful to understand and to be deeply involved in your previous results, because even if time passed between your previous treatment and now, still you will not respond more. We will not, because we lost some time. You remember that we spoke about the follicles, about our resource, about our potential oocytes to be produced. So we lost that time already. However, we can change the regimen, we can select different protocol, we can think about the dosage, we can think about some additional medications to be added as a growth factor, for example, or some others, some supplements. Also, we need to know which supplements you got before, because some of them maybe you had too many of those. So everything is important, and of course, your partner should be also involved. It will be easier if you are planning this together to communicate together as a team. You need to be a team with your partner, and after communication and coordinating a process, you need to be a team with your medical team, with your coordinator, with your doctor. You need to feel that you are as one in this trip to your goal. And it will be complicated for you to repeat what doctor said. Probably this happened before. Your partner is asking what does doctor said, and you are repeating just one sentence, but doctor was talking for 30 minutes before. So it is important. How to prepare? We talked already about this, so you need to have a list of key medical information. Any medical conditions you think they might be important for us to know, either about you or your partner, please share with us. Previous evaluations, as I said before as well. So everything what is important, what was not right, like prolactin level, TSH, something like antibodies, etc. Usually doctors, they are noticing this and they are paying your attention into this. Of course, in your records, you will have a lot of HIV results, for example, or hemoglobin level, or any others which are just regular tests. So they are not as important as those which were saying as please pay attention into this. And you remember about this. So this we need to communicate. Details about your menstrual cycle. Of course, for gynecologists, this is something what we must to evaluate. Like when you started your bleeding, how regular it was. Did you had any amenorrhea period, like you lost your menstruations for some time? It is all important in order to understand, like ovulation, anovulation, if you did some ovulatory tests, measured your temperature, anything else. This is all important. List details of your attempts to get pregnant, how long you've been trying to conceive, um, spermogram results, how often you have even sex. This is also what doctor asks in order to understand the picture, just to evaluate every step. Every information is important. Also, we are evaluating a genetic history. You need to know and you need to talk and you need to ask, because sometimes if you are not asking, your relatives can keep this information and not share with you. For example, when was your the last menstrual cycle of your mother or your sister? Maybe you have premature ovarian failure in your family, but nobody talked about this. So you need to ask all those questions. This again, all is important. During your consultation, make sure that you received answers and you understand the whole process. Process regarding your fertility evaluation, what can be the reasons? And if we find one reason, it is not enough. We need to investigate whole process and then complete our result, our conclusion with the result. Like, we think this is an ovulatory problem. This is dedicated to your age. Endometriosis could also play the role. Your myoma is affecting or not affecting potentially your implantation. Again, your immune status, etc., etc. So complete fertility evaluation. Diagnosis, the same. So after we understood the reason, we may say, this is this and that diagnosis, which we need to cover and which we need to put in your medical records, that we are going to treat it. We are going to cover this. We are going to offer you a solution. Treatment plan. What doctor would advise you as a treatment plan? It can be different. Depends on uh, what you are the responder. For example, if you are a good responder and we expect many follicles to be growing, and you would like to have PGS treatment, for example, PGS testing, for example, for your embryos, or this will be advised. You need to understand that after the oocyte collection is happening, we will fertilize the oocytes, we will cultivate the embryos, but we will freeze the embryos. We are not going to have embryo transfer at the same cycle when we had the OPU. But to be prepared for the embryo transfer in the cryo cycle, for example, our advice is to use long protocol with the medication preparation. So it takes again 1.5 months. So after you had frozen your embryos, we will start pre-treatment on day 18, and then we will start growing endometrium since the next menstrual cycle will start. So all these timelines, they will be indicated after we have a clear picture and we understand the treatment plan. You need to ask all the questions and understand everything about the facility, where it is located, for how long you need to come into that facility, who will meet you in the airport, who will talk to you online during all this period once you will be planning, booking your tickets, what would be advice for your hotel, what is needed in terms of the insurance, COVID test, vaccination, etc., etc. There are many questions which needs to be asked. However, usually it is enough few consultations in order to ask all these questions and to get a clear understanding of the picture. And after that, you will feel comfortable. This is our main aim, that you will feel positive, comfortable, and you would wait and look forward to start that treatment. You have a right to be informed and knowledgeable about every phase and every stage. This is your, like in Ukraine, it is written in the constitution that you may select your doctor, you may select your treating facility, and you have a right to be informed about everything what is going to happen with you during your treatment process. And after after the consultation, you need to get the contact details of people to stay in touch. In our practice, all our patients, they have contact with their doctor. All my patients, they have my phone number, my email, and they know when and how they may communicate. They may communicate all the time, and we are answering remotely. As soon as we are available, we are answering. In addition to the treating doctor, also our coordinator is 24/7 in touch. She speaks your language. She understands the process. She is well aware about your treatment plan. She keeps all your records. She understands when you are ready, what are the timelines, and what needs to be done during every minute. You need to have a full understanding of the process. If you don't have, please ask again. Don't feel shy that you don't understand something, that you need to repeat the question. This is all fine. Our aim is that you feel comfortable with us. Your feelings need to be on that positive side, on that side that you feel confident, you feel safe, and you feel that you are working with reliable doctors, with reliable facility in order to coordinate together with you and to go together to receive your goal. We were talking before about oocyte donation, and we were talking that to get pregnant, it is possible in any age. However, even oocyte donation has some alternatives right now, and it is important to share this with you now because this is happening, that this request for mitochondrial or donation or pronuclear transfer is the most common these days. We are very successful in this. Ukraine is one of, I believe, one of two countries where pronuclear transfer and mitochondrial donations are allowed and successfully performed. I will explain a little bit. We will have additional webinar about this, but just to avoid all those questions which we may have, so it is important to share just shortly about this. So mitochondrial degeneration, this is how our oocytes are starting to be not competent. So why we do not get high quality embryos? This is mainly because of the mitochondria, which is the battery of the cell. Oocyte is a cell. We have nuclei inside of the oocyte where we keep 98% of our genetic material. And 2% of our genetic material is kept in mitochondria, so-called mitochondrial DNA. So if we would change mitochondria, which are old and they are not producing enough energy to help embryo to grow, to keep the process of mitosis, first mitosis, second, and to divide embryo and to achieve high quality embryo. So if we would keep your nuclei, but we would just change mitochondria, you will have more probabilities to produce healthy embryos. So these are alternatives for oocyte donation. There are two techniques. We will talk more about those. However, just to understand, this is a possibility to keep your nuclear DNA, to receive energy from the donated cell, and to receive your genetically related embryo in order to be transferred. So this is alternative which is the most commonly requested right now as for the treatment in Ukraine. Another question, we just talked about this, when to start. So I hope you understood that you need to start immediately because time is so important resource for you. And right now, independently in which phase of menstrual cycle you are, you have some follicles which potentially can be recruited and can produce oocyte. However, if you haven't started your treatment, those follicles will go to the process of apoptosis, and never again they will be available for being stimulated. So in order, if we are talking about when to stop, there are few, only one limitation, I would say. This is medical consideration, considering the age limit. There are some others, like limits for treatment in your home country. Probably, living in, for example, in Czech Republic, there is 49, in UK 50, some other countries 50, and as maximum 54 in the USA. However, in our country, we don't have a limit. And even if you are over your limit, for example, 40 years old or 45, but you still have a goal to conceive and to get pregnant, you need just to move. It is complicated now to move between the countries. However, it is possible. Having prepared everything for your treatment and for your trip, it is very easy to schedule all this and to be in that trip for your goal, just for achieving your goal. I like there is only one country in the whole world where IVF treatment is fully refundable by the government, by the state. This is Israel, until family has 3 children in their family. So I don't know any other country like this. And I like to share this presentation, this publication of couples offered free assisted reproduction treatment, which have very high chance of achieving a live birth within 4 years. So within 4 years, with unlimited IVF treatment, 95.5% of couples conceived, 89% gave birth to a live infant. 81 achieved a live birth within the first 4 years, and 85 within 8 treatment cycles. You may say this is a lot of time, 4 years. This is a lot of treatment cycles, 8 cycles. I have already in my experience some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, you need to remember the first slide. Our goal is to understand your infertility issue and to maximize the possibilities for your successful treatment during the first IVF treatment together with our team. And another big data. This is a huge data of over 250,000 IVF cycles from the UK, and you also can see that with donor oocytes for all ages of the patient, starting from the fifth IVF cycle, it is already over 80% that these couples will get pregnant. And it reaches over 90% within 8 treatment cycles. With own oocyte, but less than 40 years old, the same. We are reaching over 60, close to 70%, and over 70 with 9th treatment cycle. And with own oocytes, after age of 40, it is lower. We understand why. This is dedicated to the oocyte quality, mitochondrial activity, and potential for healthy embryos to be created. But still, starting in the first cycle, it's about 11%. It goes more than 25 with the fifth IVF cycle. So still, you can move from the treatment to treatment. It is happening sometime. We are starting from using own oocytes, sometimes after some special treatment or preparations, as for example, ovarian rejuvenation, which is also successfully performed in Ukraine. But we need to understand your potential to produce your own oocytes, and we need to understand the potential for PRP plasma, which helps to produce more follicles within a shorter period of time when you would like to start your treatment after the ovarian rejuvenation. So to conclude, There are different treatment options which may be recommended for IVF to achieve a goal of parenthood. Second opinion is recommended due to specific limits in the countries. The most effective treatment for patients in advanced age is oocyte donation. Experimental treatments available in IVF are effective and may be accepted widely in the future. Time is the most crucial resource you have now. And if you are listening this webinar and you haven't tried all mentioned above, and you have a goal to get pregnant and to achieve parenthood, you should keep trying. Understanding that the most crucial resource is your time. And also your doctor, your clinical team, and you and your partner should be one team, which going together towards to achieve your goal. All information after the consultation you will receive in writing. It will be all easy to understand and to repeat if needed. The treatment program plan, the list of the obligatory examinations, preliminary diagnosis, and timelines, everything what we discussed together with you, all this will be in written after your fertility consultation. We will be happy to be part of your team in order to achieve your goal, and we welcome you to make your next step toward to your dream together with our team. Thank you so much. This is everything I wanted to share with you today. I will be happy to communicate further, and we are going to have more webinars. We will be discussing deeply each and every topic. You may say what is the most important for you to understand, to get information about. You can write all these questions. And now we will go to the list of the questions you already wrote online. And I'm going to check them. And I'm happy to answer. So there is a first question. What can you suggest if I am 47 with low IMH, but I would like to have my own biological child? We need to get more information about how your IMH is low and if you are still regularly cycling. But first, what I would advise would be the ovarian rejuvenation, or just checking your response. If you are responding regularly and you are happy to go through several IVF stimulation cycles, this is what we recommend for patients with the low ovarian reserve, to accumulate oocytes or embryos on the stage of zygote after few stimulation cycles, and to cultivate them all together in order to maximize our chance to achieve blastocyst. And also pronuclear transfer and mitochondrial donation would be the best for this for you, just understanding your mitochondrial activity. So we need to get more information about some specific points as your cycle, as your detail of IMH, and we will be happy to advise. What information can I receive about lady donor? Quite like all details which you need to have about your oocyte donor, you will receive. This is personal profile, medical profile, genetic evaluation and the history, also results of her treatment, previous treatment, as many of our donors, they are proven donors, and we may share, and we share with all our patients their previous results and the results of effectiveness of this donor. So all this information is available. Checking for more of your questions now. Another question, when PGS is recommended? In Ukraine, PGS may be performed for older women, for those who would like to check the status of your embryo, also for selection of a sex of a baby, and also as a desire of the patient. As after PGS testing, we know that the probability for implantation is much higher because we are transferring embryo which is genetically healthy. So implantation potential is much higher for that embryo, and PGS may be recommended both by a doctor. For example, if you are carrier of some mutations, so it would be necessary to do the PGS testing. If you are in your older age, it would be recommended to do PGS testing in order to avoid transferring those embryos which will be aneuploid. And we understand that after 40 years old, the probability of getting euploid blastocyst is about 50%, and increasing the age over 43 years old, it increases over 70%, and over 45, it over 85% of embryos will be aneuploid. So it is so important to not to give you a false expectation, false positive expectation that we are just transferring an embryo. We need to be sure that we are transferring that embryo, which will give us the highest chance of being implanted. Checking for more of your questions now. There is a question in my WhatsApp regarding, can you please share information about transportation of biological materials? If my husband cannot travel right now, can I bring a sperm? So yes, this is actually during the COVID status in our world. This is what we experienced even before that. So we have been working with medical transportation companies for many years already. And it is true that you should not travel to Ukraine every time you need to have any IVF treatment. For example, of course, if you're going to have embryo transfer, you need to come because you need to have embryo transfer. However, for example, if this is outside donation with PGS, we need to have a consultation. We need to evaluate your medical history, all your records, create a treatment plan. However, you can bring a sperm of your partner if he is not able to come, or you can ask a transport company, a cryo transport company, to bring a sperm. It is widely used and it is very reliable service right now. We are using our partner company Arc Cryo, and it was always successfully received all the materials. They are communicating very fast. They are very reliable and trustful company. So sperm can be brought to our facility from your home country, and you can avoid that initial visit. Of course, you will come later once embryos are created, once they are PGS tested, and they are ready for transfer. But you will come just for a short visit of with the prepared endometrium. And it is also important to mention that because of our experience working in the field of international IVF for over 15 years, we have communications with clinics probably almost in any country where you are located. And it will help us to communicate and to coordinate your preparation process, meaning you can find your IVF specialist who will be happy to supervise the process of your preparation. Or if you don't have some, we can advise where to go. But definitely, even if this is in a different city, it's within the same country. So it will be much more convenient for you to have treatment like this, to be prepared as long as possible in your home country and to come for Ukraine just for essential procedures and to short visit. So do we have any other questions? Okay, no other questions so far. I hope these 45 minutes were helpful and were informative, and I will be happy to spend more time with you. We are preparing other topics to be also very informative and helpful to to make your first step. I just would wish that after today's webinar, you would understand your resource, which is your time. And if really parenthood is your goal, you need just to have that first step. And after that first step, you will have a team who will be helping you to move forward, who will be keeping you toward to your goal active and positive. So thank you so much for staying with us. I am grateful for Infertility International Fertility Group for inviting me, and I will be happy to join more of those webinars and to stay more with you. Wish you all the best, keep safe, and goodbye.